Despite never receiving formal culinary training, Rachael Ray has built a very successful career centered around cooking. Sadly, her decades in the limelight have come at a cost, and she's faced plenty of hardship dating back to her childhood. Anyone who's ever watched Rachael Ray do her thing on TV knows that she's got a distinctly husky voice, but they might not know exactly why.
Welcome, and sit and relax. I love firsts, and this is the first show!
As a child, Ray frequently got sick with croup, an airway infection common in kids, and this had a negative impact on her vocal cords. Speaking with People in 2006, she explained, "I lose my voice a lot. I went to a voice doctor who taught me exercises for my throat and to cut back a little on the caffeine." In 2008, rumors were swirling that Ray had been diagnosed with throat cancer when it came to light that the talk show host was having throat surgery. However, the real reason for the procedure was far less dramatic, and her reps quickly assured fans that Ray's surgery was not associated with a cancer diagnosis, telling People, "Rachael is the picture of health. She is having very minor surgery to remove a benign cyst on her vocal cord. It's a common in and out procedure that she will have in early December, and it will not adversely affect any of her daytime show or Food Network tapings." Thankfully, Ray wasn't out of action for long and only had to rest her voice for a week after surgery. Rachael Ray has caused so few scandals in her life, it's possible that the press feels obligated to invent some, and it may have been for this reason that nasty allegations against her husband came to light as she was rising to fame. Shortly after Ray got married to John Cusimano in 2005, rumors started swirling that he was cheating on her when anonymous sources claimed that he was hanging out at a swingers club. In 2007, the rumors ramped up, with tabloids pronouncing the couple's marriage dead in the water. Ray's spokesperson clapped back with a statement to People, saying that the rumors had no merit. Then, while taping one of her shows, Ray addressed the rumors herself, saying, "Everybody gossips, but this stuff is hurting people's feelings who are in our families and friends of ours. They worry about us." In 2013, the infidelity rumors resurfaced, with sources telling the National Enquirer that Cusimano had been spotted at Checkmate, a swingers club in Manhattan. The source alleged that he'd paid 6 visits to the club and had different women on his arm each time, none of whom were his wife. While these rumors were upsetting, Ray put them to bed during an interview with People, insisting that she's always aware of where her husband is and making it clear that the rumors were nothing but balderdash. Rachael Ray and Oprah Winfrey are both legends in their own right, so it makes sense that the two are close friends. Ray appeared on Winfrey's show fairly early into her television career, and when she kicked off her own eponymous talk show, Winfrey's production company produced it. Not long after, however, nasty stories started making the rounds that Ray had spoken badly of her friend. According to People, Ray was purported to have insulted a painting of Winfrey hanging in her production offices, and the press ran with the rumors. As Winfrey had been such a good friend to Ray over the years, Ray stated on her show that these rumors were even harder to deal with than the ones about her husband. It became such a big media firestorm that Ray spoke up about it during an interview with People in 2007, saying, "If people want to slam me, just slam me. I felt bad for Oprah because it attaches my name to hers. I wrote Oprah a note and said I would never presume to redress your paintings." Before becoming a TV personality, Ray worked various jobs in the food industry in New York City. One night, she returned to her Queens home late and ran into an uninvited visitor outside her building. He pointed a gun at her, and Ray screamed at the top of her lungs before managing to get hold of her pepper spray. She proceeded to take aim at her attacker, who promptly made a run for it. While Ray was understandably traumatized by the incident, she told Vanity Fair that she managed to move on from the horrifying event fairly quickly. Unfortunately, this wouldn't be the only time she feared for her life in an attack. A few weeks later, the same attacker showed up at her building again and hit her with his pistol. In response, Ray called the building's guard dog, who started barking frantically and scared the attacker away. Despite the horrifying experience, Ray managed to keep an extremely level head about it, telling Vanity Fair, "Nothing so much happened. People have a lot worse things in life, but it was like, okay, I'm not going to wait for strike 3. I felt the whole universe was telling me, you're not supposed to be here right now." It seems even someone who handled a life-threatening situation as well as Ray did still has their limits, as she ultimately decided to move after the second altercation. Rachael Ray believes in balance. Eating healthy is important to her, but she also won't forfeit the occasional donut. So when Dunkin, formerly Dunkin' Donuts, asked her to collaborate with them in 2009, she was more than happy to do so.
Hey Rachel, usual?
Yep, coffee and a bagel.
However, others in the food industry did not agree with her decision to partner with the company. According to ABC News, renowned chef and TV host Anthony Bourdain said that he thought Ray's endorsement of Dunkin' was despicable. He called her evil for agreeing to work with the the company and likened her partnership with Dunkin to, quote, peddling crack to kids. Ray later admitted to ABC News that the partnership with Dunkin didn't exactly help her image, but she honored her obligations with the company despite the nasty backlash. She explained that Dunkin was putting in some effort to make their product healthier in small ways, one of which included getting rid of all trans fats. As for Bourdain, Ray opted to respond with kindness, saying, "I absolutely love Tony Bourdain. I have an enormous amount of respect for him. It's a free country." Ray's 77-year-old aunt, Geraldine, tragically died on November 29, 2013, while she was house-sitting for Ray's mother and accidentally locked herself out of the house. According to the National Enquirer, she had been diagnosed with chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, and her daughter, Gina Mesnick, suggested that at some point while she was stuck outside, she may have collapsed from impaired breathing as a result of exposure to cold temperatures. Ray was busy finishing up the latest season of her show at the time, and her spokesperson told the New York Post that her relative's death came as a major shock to the family. Another shock soon followed, as Mesnick publicly accused Ray and her family of being responsible for the death, saying, "I want the world to know the truth about them and just how they treat their own family. Mum was paid $300 to house sit for her sister 5 days a week, but was never given a key." Stories about the Ray family rift ran wild in the media, but the storm seemed to calm a bit after Ray's brother spoke to Radar and confirmed that his aunt's cause of death had been a heart attack, not exposure. Sadly, more scrutiny arose when Ray was unable to attend her aunt's funeral, with her cousin saying, "I doubt that Rachel shed a single tear over my mother's death." Ray has not publicly responded to her cousin's allegations. Ray is famously a dog lover, so it comes as no surprise that she eventually launched her own dog food brand, Nutrish. Unfortunately, it came under scrutiny in 2018 when accusations that the food didn't live up to its all-natural claims started surfacing. Nutrish faced a class action lawsuit brought against it by a disgruntled customer from New York who claimed that the dog food contained glyphosate, a popular weed killer that contained substances that were believed to be harmful to health. Glyphosate was not disclosed on the food's packaging, and in court documents, the customer said that this omission proved that Nutrish was deceiving its customers and selling them a product that was not natural and potentially harmful. Ray had a PR nightmare on her hands after the lawsuit was filed, but the case eventually got thrown out by a judge in 2021.
There isn't anything in these products that I literally wouldn't put in my own body.
While Ray has dealt with a number of issues involving public opinion, her private life hasn't been particularly easy either. In August 2020, Ray lost her upstate New York house in a devastating fire. During the season 15 premiere of The Rachael Ray Show, she explained that after starting a fire in her fireplace, built-up substances in their chimney propelled an ember onto their roof and started a fire that soon spread throughout the house. Ray and her husband were getting ready to have dinner in front of the fireplace when someone who was riding an ATV in the area saw that their house's roof was ablaze and raced to their backyard to tell them. Ray and her husband had been unaware that the fire had broken out and rushed outside to see their house's roof engulfed in flames.
I could hear the fire in the wall. I could hear electricity. I could hear danger.
Ray gave viewers a look at the ruins of her house on her show, showing the complete devastation it did in a fairly short amount of time. The damage was so severe that Ray's house had to be rebuilt from the ground up. As if losing her home in a fire wasn't already tragic enough, Rachael Ray found herself facing another domestic tragedy a year later when her New York apartment failed to withstand Hurricane Ida's wrath. Speaking with People, she described the damage done to their recently renovated home, saying, "Literally every speaker in the ceiling, the fireplace, every seam in the wall. It was like the apartment just literally melted, like in Wicked or something." The city was in chaos after the storm, so Ray and her husband endured a week-long wait before they could get an assessment of the damage. When the remediation team finally showed up, however, they made everything worse. Ray recalled how they made a hole in the wall and accidentally hit a main water pipe. Another flood ensued, and this time it didn't just affect Ray's sixth-floor apartment, but also those below her. Impressively, despite a year of intense hardships, Ray managed to maintain her trademark optimism. As she reflected to People, "There are so much worse positions we could be in. I mean, I'm alive, and I do have a roof over my head, and I do have a job." Rachael Ray has never kept her desire to remain child-free a secret, and for very logical reasons. Still, she's been questioned about this decision on more than one occasion. During an interview for ABC's Nightline, Ray reiterated that she loved children and enjoyed having them in the kitchen, but that she wouldn't be able to juggle both having kids and her job without neglecting one or the other. She explained, "I have an enormous amount of hours that have to be dedicated to work. For me personally, I would need more time to feel like I'd be a good mum to my own child. I feel like a borderline good mum to my dog, so I can't imagine if it was a human baby. She added that just imagining having to take time off work stressed her out because she relied on its momentum. Many can probably relate to Ray's point of view, but she's still been asked about it repeatedly over the years. When asked if she thought she was missing out by not having kids, her response was pretty blunt. "I don't feel like I am. I really don't."